How to clean your VistaFlame pellet stove. Okay, Bonnie, here's some information on how to clean your stove. The first thing that I do is I put some newspaper down on the tile to protect it from anything that might fall. And then I have my tools, which are the scraper, the brush, a flathead screwdriver, and some glass cleaner, and a shop vac. So the first thing to do is a lever on the bottom right here that you just lift up. Lift that up, and then the front of the stove opens up. Now, on a daily basis, I usually go through and I vacuum all along the edge of the glass because a certain amount of dust will accumulate there. And then inside the stove, it's a good idea to clean out along the edges, along the front here, inside the burn pot, and in the sides here where some dust will accumulate. So when you do the actual cleaning, it's a good idea. I usually try to do it once a week. And up on the top of the stove, I'll see if I can get a picture of this. I don't know if I can turn the light on. I probably should have done that. But at the very top of the stove, there's a piece that lifts right out. I'm going to put that down here. And that piece will fill up with quite a bit of accumulated dust. So it's a good idea to vacuum that out on a regular basis when you're cleaning the stove. Then there's a little front piece that's just a decorative cover that just pulls right out. You don't have to disconnect anything. And then under that is a tray. I already loosened it up because I was doing this one-handed. But there's a screw in the front. It's a flathead. You just twist it. The screw doesn't actually come out. So you just loosen that, slide the tray out, and this will be all filled up with ash. So you have to vacuum that out. Then inside, and naturally you wait until the stove is cool before you do this, you have the actual burn pot itself, which comes right out. That's going to be full of pellets and full of ash, so that will need to get vacuumed out. And then there's also, I don't know what you call this piece, but that needs to get pulled out and vacuumed as well. Now inside you can see those two pipes. The one on the left is the igniter. The one on the right is to allow airflow. So there'll be all kinds of ash in there that will all have to be vacuumed out. There's also a certain amount of ash that accumulates in these little brick areas here. So once I've done a quick vacuum of everything, then I take the brush and I brush down all the bricks, and I brush down this little thing, and I brush off the igniter and the air thing, and just to kind of clean up any debris or carbon or whatever that's accumulated there. I also use either a screwdriver or the scraper, and I go through each of these things, the burn pot, the little tray there, and I just scrape off any carbon that's accumulated, and that gets really messy. A lot of times it's a good idea to wear a mask while you're doing this because sometimes the fine dust will blow around a little bit at this point. So then you're ready to put your stove back together again, and it's really not too hard. The first thing that I do is I put back this piece, and you'll see it's got the two holes in the front that are going to fit around the igniter pipe and the airflow pipe. There's also two little tabs on the front side that are going to fit into two holes that are inside the stove. You'll see that. I don't know whether I can really show you. It's too dark in there. So I'm just going to line these up. And everything fits right in, so the little tabs are fit in the front, and you can see just a little bit of the igniter and the airflow pipe fit in there. Then the next thing I put in is the burn pot, and the burn pot, you'll notice, has a curved side and a straight side. The straight side is the side that's going to go towards the front of the stove, and there's even like a little line that's going to show you where it's going to line up with the other piece inside. So I just lay that in. And I slide this tray back in. And when you slide that tray in, just make sure that you remember to tighten this screw. It's just like a one turn to the right. And I know there was one time I forgot to do that. The stove was getting way too much air. It was burning really bad. It took me a while to figure out what was going wrong. But that's all that it was. This piece I'm going to put in afterwards because I need two hands to do it. Just be really careful when you do it. As you can see on this piece, there are little slots 2 on each side, or actually 6, 2 on 3 of the sides. And there are slots inside the stove, and it's important that those slots all fit into one another. If you miss any of them, here's a couple up here that you can see. If you miss them, I've had this happen where that piece actually fell into the fire, and there's nothing you can do in that case except shut off the stove, wait for it to cool down, and put it back into place once it's cooled. It hasn't seemed to have done any harm, but it's a little nerve-wracking. So just make sure there's, as long as all 6 of those little prongs are into their slots, you're fine. Let's see, the door, usually what I do is I just take some old newspaper and some glass cleaner and give that a good scrub. It looks really nice afterwards. And this little decorative piece just slides right back on front. And then you swing the door closed. Put this, whoops, close it all the way. Take this lever, put it down as far as it goes. Everything's nice and tight, and you're ready to use your stove again. So, enjoy.